prayer, then we take off. Shall we bow our heads as we are seated? Our Father in heaven, we thank you for a blessed day like this. He has taken us months and weeks to prepare for this special occasion, public lecture. Thank you for the good weather. Thank you for safe arrival of those who are already here. And thank you for those who are prepared to deliver their lectures. Thank you for those who are going to chair and lead and guide us. We pray for your presence to lead us, to guide us, to empower us to learn, to develop skills, understanding in what will be taught today. And I pray for special oratory power for our lectures to be able to communicate their message to understanding and our benefit. Be with us here. We pray that the protection will be here, will be safe, sound, and everything will work out technically, and everything will fall in place. I especially pray for those who are yet to join us, that the grace that brought us here will carry all of them here safely, and at the end of it all, we'll be successful, and we shall say, thanks be to God. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thank you very much. I introduce our MC, our own brother, to come and take over. Mr. Kofi, put your hands together for the MC.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Thomas Akwete Ndanu. And a very warm welcome to everybody, one and all. And on this occasion where we celebrate our 25th anniversary, we relish the good times that we've had from the inception of this college to date. And I think it's a good time to put your hands together for the college. Thank you very much. I would appreciate it if we sat in a very more orderly manner so that those who come after will be at the back for us. So I will beg of you to come forward a bit. Let's fill the first 4 seats. You can give somebody a high five and tell them you're welcome. Whilst you come forward. Thank you very much. You have a very wonderful audience so far. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as has been introduced, my name is Nana Kofi Owusu. I'm a registered dietitian and a lecturer. I am a student as well. And the college has been part of my formative years, postgraduate years. And so I'm home, and I'm excited to be anchoring this all-important public lecture. To eat or not to eat, dietary habits and the courting of kidney disease. Therefore, a dietitian is well placed to anchor this program. And I must say that. Okay. So we want to thank our Reverend for the powerful opening prayer. And we have a long lineup, and we have very powerful lectures coming up. I don't want to take a lot of time talking. We'll introduce the dignitaries seated as and when the program proceeds. I see a lot of my lecturers around, and I'm humbled to be doing this. We want to welcome our acting provost and the dean of SBAS, Professor Samuel Nchibafo, our acting provost, to come and give us the welcome address. Can we please put our hands together?
Thank you, Nana. Good afternoon, everyone. our esteemed Vice-Chancellor of REID, Professor Felix Ankoma Asante, Deans and Directors. I see Madam Registrar also here, faculty members, staff, students, distinguished alumni, partners, stakeholders, our media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense joy that I welcome you all to the 25th Anniversary Public Lecture of the College of Health Sciences. This is indeed a very special moment for us. For 25 years, the college has stood at the forefront of training health professionals, advancing research, and responding to the health needs of our nation and beyond. Our anniversary theme, Transforming Lives Through Excellence in Education, Research and Healthcare, sums up what this college has been about since its founding. It reminds us of our mission to educate, to innovate, and to serve. At the same time, it challenges us to keep raising the bar in everything we do. Over the coming months, we have lined up a series of activities to mark this milestone. There will be symposia, fundraising events, a grand derby, and award ceremonies. These are not simply events on a calendar, and so don't see them just events on your calendar. They are expressions of gratitude, of renewed commitment, and of celebration of the partnerships that have sustained us over the years. One of the highlights of this celebration is this public lecture series. This evening's theme, To Eat or Not to Eat, Dietary Habits and the Courting of Kidney Diseases, addresses one of the most urgent health challenges of our time. Across Ghana and the world, we are witnessing a sharp rise in non-communicable diseases, with chronic kidney disease emerging as a silent but devastating threat. The prevalence of kidney diseases in Ghana has increased significantly in the last decade, adding pressure to an already stretched healthcare system. Poor dietary habits, especially the high consumption of processed, high salt, and nutrient-deficient foods, are fueling risk factors such as hypertension and diabetes, which are leading causes of chronic kidney disease. Beyond the clinical statistics, these diseases represent families disrupted, incomes lost, and communities burdened by the cost of long-term treatment, including dialysis. Yet there is hope. Evidence shows that every dietary intervention and medical nutrition therapy can significantly slow the progression of kidney disease and improve patient outcomes. This makes our theme not only relevant, but also timely, reminding us that our health is shaped not just by hospitals and medicines, but also by the daily choices we make at the dinner table. On behalf of the College of Health Sciences, I wish to thank the Vice-Chancellor and the university leadership for their steadfast support, our alumni for their loyalty, our partners for their commitment, and above all, our dedicated faculty, staff, and students whose passion and service have brought us this far. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate this silver jubilee, let us look to the future with confidence. May the years ahead bring even greater impact, innovation, and transformation in education, research, and healthcare, not only for Ghana, but for the continent and the world. I warmly welcome you all once again, and I wish us a fruitful and inspiring lecture. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause will do. Thank you very much. Wow, interesting. You are giving me a wave, eh? Can we please acknowledge our able translator, sign translator, Mr. Charles Mensah Ameto. And Dr. Sewa Ameniampon Doso. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Department of Audiology, Speech and Language Therapy, and then a postgraduate student and sign language interpreter from UEW. So we want to fill our high table. We want to call on our distinguished guest to come and fill the high table for us. We want to have Mrs. Emiliana Kwanswa J. Mensah, our dear registrar. Yes, can we please put our hands together? The whole registrar is in our midst. Oh, a louder one will do. Appreciate our mother. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Oh, please keep clapping. Thank you very much. We are so happy you made it to this place. We want to also bring up our acting provost, the dean of SBAS, Prof. Samuel Echibafo, to take the seat. Please sit. Yes. Thank you very much. We want to have our two able speakers, also join us up on stage. Dr. Rebecca Steele Dazi from SBAS. Embarrass her with your clap offering, please. And my own friend and brother, Mr. Maxwell Conlan from UG Hospital. Please sit here. Yes. I'm so sorry. Conlan, please sit. Okay. Please sit at the extreme. Thank you very much. You would reckon that I have one seat empty. And, oh, please. Oh, no, please. No, please. Oh, please take your seat for me, please. I am even not the one to introduce you. So please take your seat. Please clap for him as he sits down. Oh, powerful. Such a humble man. I am not worthy to introduce him. I am not worthy. Like was said of Jesus. John the Baptist said he's not worthy to untie the shoes. Whom am I to introduce this man? Can we please welcome Dr. Gwendolyn Mensah, Faculty of Nursing and Midwifery, to come and introduce our chairman for us.
Thank you very much. I deem it a privilege to be called upon to introduce our chair for this program. But I've been bribed by the chair. Let's welcome Professor Dante. Thank you very much. Prof, I've done well. I've done well, isn't it?
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll go by what. So, Honorable Ministers of Education and Health, Director General of Ghana Health Service, if they are here or their representatives, you are welcome. The Acting Provost, College of Health Sciences, Deans, Directors, faculty, staff, students, distinguished alumni, partners, stakeholders, our media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It gives me immense joy and indeed a deep sense of honor to welcome you all and to chair this 25th anniversary public lecture in commemoration of the College of Health Sciences Silver Jubilee. Today, we are not simply marking the passage of time, we are celebrating a legacy of excellence in education, research, and healthcare. Since its establishment in 2000 as the first college of our university, the College of Health Sciences has remained a shining light in training health professionals, conducting cutting-edge research, and serving Ghana, Africa, and the world in remarkable ways. With six schools, 1 institute, and 2 centers across Legon and Kolebu campuses, the college has produced doctors, dentists, pharmacists, nurses, biomedical scientists, and public health experts who continue to transform healthcare delivery globally. As part of this milestone celebration, the college has planned a rich program of activities, including public lectures, symposia, fundraising events, a grand derby, and award ceremonies. These activities remind us that our work extends far beyond the classroom and laboratory. It is about impacting lives, shaping futures, and transforming communities. And I'm happy that today we've left our gowns on campus and we are in town. One of the highlights of this celebration is the public lecture series. This evening's theme, to eat or not to eat, dietary habits and cutting of kidney diseases, is both timely and thought-provoking. It speaks directly to one of the pressing health challenges of our time, the rising prevalence of lifestyle-related diseases. And for me, it's very relevant because, I mean, now when you put on the radio, everybody is talking about galamsey and its effects. So you can be having a very good lifestyle, but you'll be having kidney-related issues. So this is very, very, very timely. In Ghana, the burden of kidney diseases, particularly chronic kidney disease, CKD, has grown significantly in the past decade, placing immense strain on our health care system. The shift towards processed, high sodium, and nutrient-poor diets has accelerated risk factors such as hypertension and diabetes, fueling the CKD epidemic. Evidence shows that early intervention through medical nutrition can significantly improve outcomes, slow disease progression, and delay the costly initiation of dialysis. I don't know whether in our current settings, the nutritious therapy will help. Because in an attempt to have nutritious therapy, you are taking mercury and other compounds. So I think that is another window and another day for discussion. Over the next 2 days, our distinguished speakers will provide deeper insights into, 1, the prevalence and burden of kidney diseases, 2, the major risk factors, including hypertension and diabetes, 3, prevention and management strategies such as diet, food systems, and policies that can mitigate risk, and lastly, the economic implications of kidney disease on individuals, families, and national health care. For today, the presentation will focus on the prevalence and the major risk factors. This discussion is not only medical, but also social and economic. It challenges us as academics, policymakers, health professionals, and citizens to rethink our food environment and dietary habits as a matter of public health and national development. The anniversary theme, Transforming Lives Through Excellence in Education, Research, and Healthcare, could not be more fitting. It reflects the remarkable journey of the College of Health Sciences over the last 25 years, and it also directs our gaze to the future, one where the University of Ghana continues to lead with vision, innovation, and impact. I reaffirm the university's commitment to supporting the college and its mandate. Our strategic plan prioritizes transformative student experience, impactful research, staff development, partnership, and sustainable resource mobilization, all of which are evident in the college's achievements and contributions. As we celebrate this Silver Jubilee, let us do so with gratitude for how far we have come, and with vision for the next 25 years. Let us define the future not only by excellence, but by leadership, not only by achievement, but by lasting impact. On behalf of the University of Ghana, I extend warm congratulations to the provost, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and partners of the College of Health Sciences. May this anniversary inspire us to even greater heights in transforming lives through education, research, and healthcare. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for your wonderful remarks. And I believe that these remarks have set the tone for today's lecture. But before we proceed, I'd like to do some housekeeping announcements. The first is that there are beautiful washrooms outside when you step out and enter to your right side. Very, very neat. Very, very neat. And I like the flavor that... All right. We are also monitoring blood pressure at the desk, so feel free to get there and get your blood pressure checked. I see a lot of familiar faces, very known familiar faces. My own school choir director is at the desk. And I want to acknowledge all deans and directors here present. If there are any, can you please give me a wave? All right. And my Professor Aite is also around. Can we please put our hands together for him? Thank you very much. I also see the chairman of the planning committee. Oh, he deserves a loud round of applause. Chairman of the 25th anniversary planning committee, Professor Michael Ofori. Please show him some love. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Michael Opari, Appiah, I believe, graduate school, former college registrar. Can we please appreciate? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And all right, so as the names come up, I will do the introductions for us. We cannot have our registrar sit in chair and not make a comment. It's very ideal. It will be a misnomer. She cannot, I mean, the whole registrar is here. Let's hear a word or two from our registrar. Please put your hands together.
Good evening, and thank you very much. This is really being ambushed. In the first place, I did not even expect to climb up onto the stage, let alone be called upon to speak. But I'm glad that I'm able to be here this evening to join the college in the first session of the public lectures marking your 25th anniversary. I was actually in a meeting with the Vice-Chancellor, and she asked me to send her greetings to you because she was proceeding to another meeting, and that is why she could not come and why I came in a little bit late. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to introduce my colleague, Mr. Zishiri. He's the registrar of Midlands University in Zimbabwe. He is visiting us for about a month, and when I mentioned that I would be coming here, he said he would be interested in coming also. So, Mr. Zishiri, you're most welcome. So, what do I say? We look forward to a very engaging lecture. I personally was very touched by I found the topic very engaging. I felt that it would be interesting to follow. So we would all, I'm sure, listen with rapt attention to the topic, to eat or not to eat. That alone Even that subsection is quite interesting. Should we eat? Should we not eat? What should we eat? So I guess that we are all ears. So I'll just take this opportunity once again to wish the College of Health Sciences a very happy anniversary. We look forward to the upcoming events to mark the anniversary, and we'll do all that we can to participate fully in the activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Registrar, and we gladly ambush you. Okay, so we want to proceed with the first lecture, and remember, it's a 2-day lecture, today and tomorrow. We have very powerful speakers. I just saw one of the speakers for tomorrow, Dr. Jomoa Edu from UGN. Can you just give us a wave? He will be speaking to us tomorrow. But right about now, we want to invite Dr. Rebecca Steele-Dazi to give us the first lecture, To Eat or Not to Eat, Dietary Habits and the Courting of Kidney Disease. A round of applause, please. Please note that we'll have a session for question time, so please keep your questions intact for the asking.
Thank you very much, Nana Kofi. I would like to say a very big thank you to the Anniversary Planning Committee for this opportunity. Mr. Chair, please permit me to stand on all protocol earlier observed. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So this evening we are going to talk about the much awaited topic, to eat or not to eat, dietary habits and the courting of kidney disease. I have two expectations. Please, let's go to the next slide. I have two expectations for this presentation. And okay. The first is that I'm hoping that by the time you are done listening to this lecture, you would identify at least one aspect of your dietary habits which must change. And two, you would make that change. And you know exactly what you have to do in making that change. So I'll be following this outline. We'll try to answer and I'll conclude with some recommendations. So why the kidney? The kidney, because it's a very important organ. We say it is multi-purpose, which means it performs several functions. The commonest that we know of is the removal of waste material from our blood. And it does this through the tiny blood vessels that constitute the filtration units of the kidney. So, in addition to that, it also plays a significant role in eliminating fluid from our bodies, so it helps with fluid control. Again, the kidney does other things. It produces two very important hormones. One of them is responsible for controlling blood pressure. And so when we have kidney disease, blood pressure control becomes problematic. The second hormone is necessary for making red blood cells. And so when people have kidney disease, what happens is that they begin to have challenges such as anemia. And it's not because they are not eating iron-rich foods. It is because the kidney is losing its function. So it's not able to produce the hormone that it's required for the bone marrows to produce these red blood cells. The kidney also does another significant function of producing the most active form of vitamin D, which we need to make our bones very strong. And so in kidney disease, there could be problems with our bones. So all these tells us that the kidney is a very important organ and we cannot afford to have kidney disease. So, why kidney disease? Kidney disease because current global prevalence suggests that there is an increase in the prevalence of kidney diseases. Globally, the most common kidney disease, which is the chronic kidney disease, is the current prevalence is 9.1, and the dangerous thing is that over 3/4 of this population live in low and middle income countries, where Ghana is situated. Again, in sub-Saharan Africa, coming closer home to Ghana, the prevalence is even higher than the global prevalence. Also, WHO projects that by 2040, if nothing is done to curb this rising prevalence of chronic kidney disease, it is likely to become the 5th leading cause of death globally. Just recently, there was a news article on My Joy Online about Kolebu recording over 2,000 cases of kidney diseases in the first half of 2025, which is unprecedented. And so it's actually confirming the global statistic. So, what is the spectrum of chronic kidney diseases in Ghana? Mr. Chair, there isn't much data on the national prevalence per se on the spectrum of kidney diseases, but the closest documentation I was able to find is a 13-year retrospective study that was carried out at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, which included over 1,426 participants. They identified that the most common kidney disease in Ghana is chronic kidney disease, which aligns with the global statistic. As much as 70% of the kidney problems we have in Ghana is chronic kidney disease. And this is the kind of chronic kidney disease is the kidney disease that is long-term. So it progresses from stage 1 through 5 stages. And the final stage, which is stage 5, is also known as the kidney failure. Others call it the end-stage kidney disease. And what you notice is that about 20% of the spectrum of kidney cases in Ghana is actually kidney failure, which also suggests that most of the time, kidney diseases are reporting late at the point where the kidney function is completely lost. The other kidney diseases are acute kidney injury, which is the more rapid kind of kidney disease. There's a rapid loss of kidney function, and often it is due to an underlying cause. Sometimes if the underlying cause is treated, it could be reversed, but in other cases, it could progress to chronic kidney disease and lead to kidney failure. Then there's also nephrotic syndrome, which is usually associated with immune disorders or infections. So this represents the spectrum of kidney diseases that we have currently in Ghana. So knowing that chronic kidney disease is the most common kidney disease in the country, the current prevalence in Ghana is 13.3%, which is higher than the global prevalence. Again, what makes it worrying in Ghana is that the age group that are reporting it are much younger. The recent Ghana Renal Registry reported that patients who report chronic kidney disease at the end stage of chronic kidney disease are usually 45 years. That's the average age. And even more worrying is the fact that over 70 or 50% of these inpatient admissions ends up in mortality, which means we are losing our workforce at a very early age. What are the risk factors for this chronic kidney disease in our country? Again, the Ghana Renal Registry reports the highest or the most common risk factor is hypertension, which is a very common chronic non-communicable disease that we know of. Secondly, and even more worrying, is chronic kidney disease of uncertain cause. Now, if you have a condition and you know what caused it, it's like half the problem solved. But this is the case, over 20% of the chronic kidney disease, actually the kidney failure reporting in Ghana, is of an unknown cause. We are not sure what exactly predisposed patients to this kind of kidney disease. And I would please like you to hold that thought because we'll be coming back to that. The next cause is diabetes, and then other factors such as HIV, hepatitis, sickle cell, and a few others. Mr. Chair, permit me to define 2 words before I continue. The first one is courting. Usually when we talk about courting, we are referring to some kind of romantic relationship, hopefully leading to marriage, or trying to win somebody's favorable attention. But for the purpose of this lecture, usually this picture is a good representation of courting when we talk about courting. For this lecture, the definition I want us to know, based on the Oxford Languages and Google, is the risk of incurring the misfortune because of one's behavior. That is courting, the risk of incurring a misfortune because of one's behavior. The next word I want to define is dietary habit. We hear dietary habit all over the place. What do we mean by dietary habit? Dietary habit refers to the what, the how, and the when we eat and drink. Essentially, dietary habits, it's the long-term pattern of our food and drink intake. So if you put the two together, dietary habits and the courting of kidney disease, we are talking about the risk of incurring the misfortune, aka kidney disease, through our long-term patterns of food and drink intake. So invariably, what we are eating and what we are drinking is attracting kidney disease to us. So when the planning committee invited us to speak and we agreed on the topic, my colleague Maxwell and I decided to interact with some of our colleague dietitians in various hospitals across the country to get their first, their hands-on experience with some of the risky dietary behavior that they have identified among the patients they attend to. Now, these are dietitians who have between 4 to 11 years of working experience with patients with kidney diseases. And they were recruited from the University of Ghana Medical Center, Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Ifeanyi Quanta, Ridge Hospital, and then Konfa Noche. So we asked them, from their experience with patients with kidney diseases, what are the most or the commonest risks, dietary risk behaviors that they have identified? And if they are to scale it on a scale of 1 to 10, which are the most common? So this is the report they gave. They reported the most, or the commonest risky dietary behavior is the intake of excess sodium, and they scaled it 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. The second was frequently eating out. That is eating away from home, eating food that you didn't prepare at home. Eating out, it was put on a scale of 8, and it was tied with excess sugar sweetened beverage intake. And this was followed by the use of uncertified herbal medications, and then alcoholic and caffeine drinks, and lastly, inadequate water intake. And we'll be coming to that as well. So, in what way are we eating excess sodium? Now, sodium is often eaten in the form of salt. You wouldn't usually take sodium on its own. Sodium, the salt that we put in food is sodium chloride. So usually we eat sodium in the form of salt. And sodium has, usually the recommendation for the sodium intake is 2,000 milligrams per day. And that is about 1 teaspoon of salt. So from the first meal you eat when you wake up to the last meal you eat when you go to sleep, the total amount of salt that should have been in your meal is 1 teaspoon. So, unfortunately, sodium also has some benefits. Sodium is tasty. It has, it's a taste enhancer. So you notice even salt, if you cook and there's no salt in it, it doesn't taste nice. What makes it taste nice is the sodium. And so when you're served, before you even taste the food, you find yourself adding some salt to to your meal. You are increasing your sodium intake. Again, sodium is a preservative. It's used to keep food from going bad. So most of our foods like the Kobe, the nane, the pig feet, and other foods are preserved with salt. Again, as we use these foods in our cooking, we end up taking in excess sodium. What makes sodium risky is that sodium never works alone. I always tell my students that sodium is a Liverpool fan, because wherever he goes, he draws water to itself. And as you take in excess sodium, what happens is you are retaining a lot of fluid in your blood, and your blood volume is increasing. And so your heart is required to push or pump this excess blood into the various parts of your body for functioning. And that increases your blood pressure. Blood pressure or hypertension, as we saw, is one of the major risk factors of chronic kidney disease. So the more you are eating excess sodium, the higher your risk of getting kidney diseases. Again, most of our foods, the burgers, the fries, when you buy fries, you realize that they have garnished it with salt to make it taste good. You are taking in excess sodium. Again, because of its taste-enhancing characteristic, most of our spices contain high amounts of sodium. And then our condiments, soy sauce, ketchup, salad cream, they are all very high in sodium. So ask yourself the last meal you ate, which of these items were in it? Your chances are you are exceeding the 1 teaspoon that you are supposed to be eating in a day. Also, because of its preservative property, most processed foods contain sodium, whether it's a canned, advanced kind of processing or it's a homemade processed food. So our pastries also contain a lot of sodium, sometimes because of the ingredients that they are used to prepare. All these things, as we patronize them, and because of the growing middle class in Ghana, patronage of these foods is on the increase. Sometimes it's almost a status quo. When you go out, you buy fries, buy meat pie, sausage, and the grilled sausage is fashionable and it's accessible. It's all over the place. You don't have to struggle to get it. As we take all these things, we are increasing our sodium intake. The other cause of high blood pressure in our country currently is also low fruit and vegetable intake. Studies have shown that in Ghana, we are not eating enough fruit and vegetables. Why is that a risk factor? The reason is fruits especially contain a lot of potassium. Now, potassium is kind of a rival to sodium. So when sodium comes in, it will kick out potassium. When potassium comes, it will kick out sodium. So the more you take in potassium, the more you help your kidneys to excrete sodium. And as sodium goes out, your blood pressure is controlled. Potassium helps the blood vessels to relax. It opens them up. Blood flows much easier. And so the higher your potassium intake, the lower your risk of high blood pressure. So as we do not take enough fruits and vegetables, which are good sources of potassium, we are putting ourselves at risk because our chances of high blood pressure goes up. Then we saw frequently eating out. You would all agree with me that most of the foods we eat out are either processed with some soy sauce, some ketchup, some salad cream, or it also has processed meat. We have a lot of processed meat on the market, from sandwiches to our main meals. I remember when we were on campus as students, we used to buy what we called then as red. And it was just beans, oil, and gari. Now I see my students buying red, what they now call gobe. And it is not just red oil, beans, and gari anymore. There is sausage, there is egg, there is fried fish. Now these are all either high in saturated fat or in sodium. And all these contribute to high blood pressure. And so in our daily eating, we are gradually introducing some of these dietary risk factors without knowing. I mentioned saturated fat. Now saturated fat is often obtained from animal source foods. So we have what we call cow meat or beef, pork. As for pork, we don't even mention it. It is so high in saturated fat. Chicken, if you remove the skin and any evidence of fat, it could pass for lean meat, so that's fine. But most of our animal source foods are very high in saturated fat. What saturated fat does is it serves as a raw material for cholesterol production. So the more you are eating saturated fat, the more you are giving your body the raw material to make cholesterol. And when this cholesterol is made, it's especially the bad cholesterol, it lines the inner part of your blood vessels, and that closes the vessels up. The heart has to pump much harder to push blood through them, and invariably, you develop high blood pressure. And all our animal source foods are pretty high in saturated and trans fats. So, we have seen this all mentioned in the foods that we eat away from home. What I want to add here is our local drinks. Sometimes we feel that, oh, this is local, it's natural. It is not carbonated, it is safe. And so we patronize them. They may not be bad, but how much sugar is in there? Some of them are very sweet. And we saw in the comments from our dietitians, excess intake of sugar-sweetened beverages. So now when we're talking about sugar-sweetened beverages, we are not only talking about carbonated drinks, we are also talking about our local preparations, because some of them are probably even more dangerous than the carbonated drinks. And then again, the excess intake of food. the more we eat fried foods, as we fry foods, we are introducing additional oil. And we know that oil is very energy dense. So the danger of eating in excess is very high when you are eating out. And we saw from the dietitian's comments that the more eating out was rated at number 8. And that is because most of the foods we buy out are made from they are either fried, or they are made from processed meat, or they are prepared with some of our artificial spices. And now the danger is that we are acquiring that taste. And so sometimes even in our homes, we end up cooking just as the commercial people do. And the commercial people, their interest is taste and appeal. And taste is coming from high sodium sources. Appeal is often from saturated fat sources. And so you end up having a combination of the two. And so whether we are cooking at home or we are eating away from home, we are exposing ourselves to some of these risky dietary behavior. The danger of being obese is very high when we're eating out. One phenomenon that is springing up, I've had a number of people mention it to me, is tapioca drink. If you go to various places, it's very common, and it is very sweet. It's also made from refined carbohydrates. And so what you are doing is you are increasing your energy intake. The risk of being obese is very high. Obesity is one of the risk factors of high blood pressure, diabetes, and all the chronic diseases that we know of. So still talking about the dietary risk factors that cause diabetes. Diabetes is another growing chronic disease in our population currently. The prevalence is stated between 2.6 and 9%, depending on the part of the country where you are. Why is diabetes on the rise? Partly because we are not eating enough fiber. We get the fiber from fruits and vegetables, and we've already established that our fruit and vegetable intake is very low. Again, our unpolished cereals, whole grains, like wheat, oats, maize, if you have not sifted out the fiber, these are very good sources of fiber. The more we eat them, the more they protect us from being obese and prevent some of these diseases. When you look at most of the foods I have displayed here, which represent our regular intake, whether it's fufu, jollof, you see some decoration on it. It is not enough fiber. Our daily fiber intake is supposed to be a minimum of 25 grams. That is like 25 grams is like 5 dessert spoons, or the spoon we used to eat in a day, minimum. So if you see what you're having here, none of them is showing adequate intake of vegetables and fruits. The fruits, we are going for the processed ones, and the danger of the processed foods, the fruit juices, is that if you take one orange and you squeeze it, the amount of juice you are going to get, you'd all agree, will be very small. But usually when we are taking fruit juice, that's not the amount we will take. We take a full glass. And that is about 5 or more fruits you have squeezed. Eventually, you are eating in excess, and you are likely to gain weight and become obese. Ice cream, tilapia, some people try to lose weight. And so there's this fear of carbohydrates. They think that once I reduce my carbohydrate intake, I'm taking a lot of protein, I'm okay. So they'll go for a big tilapia, or a very big catfish. The whole plate is like a huge fish and tiny banku. In a way, they are trying, but they are not there yet. Because the tilapia is also protein, and protein contributes to energy. So if you are taking excess of what you must take, you are still going to end up overeating, and you are still going to be at risk of obesity. So, Mr. Chair, the next kidney disease I want to talk about is acute kidney injury. We noticed from the study from Confanoche that it's the third kind of kidney disease we have in Ghana. Now, chronic kidney injury, as I said, it's a more sudden kind of loss of kidney function. And usually it's due to an underlying cause. The underlying causes could be many. If they are able to treat that underlying cause, it is possible to be reversed. But if not, it can graduate to chronic kidney disease and eventually to kidney failure. What are some of the dietary risk factors that are exposing us to acute kidney injury? The first I want to talk about is dehydration. In our part of the world, with the tropics, the sun is hot. Sometimes you don't feel like drinking water, but you go through the day without taking enough water. What is happening is that you are causing your blood volume to reduce. Your blood concentration is going up. The filtering or the filtration unit of the kidney, they are made of very tiny blood vessels, which cannot stand that concentration of blood if you are not drinking enough water. Eventually, they are going to get injured, and you are going to develop acute kidney injury. So we need to take in water. The recommended amount of water in a day, minimum, is 2,000 ml or 2 liters, which is equivalent to 4 sachets of water. So whether you are thirsty or not, at least in a day, you should take that minimum amount. The next thing is excess protein intake, especially when we are eating fufu. We like our meat. Some people will have a bigger portion of meat than the fufu itself. Meat is good, but if it is taken in excess, it can have problems. What kind of problem will it cause? They are mostly rich in protein. And the protein, when it is broken down, it produces what we call urea, which is a waste product that must be excreted by the same kidney out of our blood. So the more you are taking protein in excess, you are producing excess urea. These poor kidneys, and remember that the filtration unit of the kidney is made of very tiny blood vessels. So any little change in your blood affects it. The more the urea concentration goes up, the more the kidneys have to work in the process that we call hyperfiltration. It's excess work for the kidneys. Eventually, it can cause an injury to these tiny blood vessels, and you can have acute kidney injury. And so excess protein intake is another risky dietary behavior that we need to be careful with. One phenomenon in Ghana that I really want us to take note of is the use of naphthalene balls, what we usually call camphor. It's very common to see it in our homes, in our sinks, in our bathrooms. Some people put it in water and they drink it because they think it gives it a nice taste. Naphthalene or camphor is a nephrotoxin. What that means is that it is poisonous to the kidneys. So when you take it in, you can increase your risk of developing acute kidney injury. Then finally, the use of uncertified herbal preparations. It was one of the things the dietitians mentioned. And all these are documented in literature as risky behavior that can increase our risk of kidney diseases. Uncertified herbal medications would also cause kidney injury, acute kidney injury, because sometimes we put in different things, we formulate. Sometimes our home preparations are even more dangerous than some of the herbal preparations on the market. Especially during the time of COVID, people put in so many different things, neem tree, lemongrass, mint, ginger. They just load things in, they boil, they drink. And it was in the name of boosting our immune system. Somehow it has stayed, and some people still do it. The danger is that we don't know what new compounds are forming as we are putting these things together. Individually, they may be safe and healthy, but when they come together, we are not too sure. Now, it's even very common to attend a program and you'll be served a fruit juice that you are not sure what it contains, because it's a mixture of so many things. You look on the label and there is nothing from FDA, no FDA certification. So you are not sure how safe that product is in the long term. And the defense that they have is that it is natural. But one statement I want you to remember is natural does not always mean safe. In fact, some of the most potent toxins in the world is from natural sources, from mushrooms. So safe is what has been tested and found to be safe for use in the long term. Natural does not necessarily mean safe. Remember, we said the second most common cause of kidney failure in Ghana was kidney disease of unknown cause. Mr. Chair, there isn't much literature of that in Ghana, but literature from elsewhere, especially in Asia, India, Vietnam, and other places, have also reported increasing prevalence of kidney disease, chronic kidney disease of unknown cause. But what they have found is that from the social history of these patients, they were usually rural workers who were exposed to agrochemicals, heavy metals. In Ghana, with our interactions from some of our dietitians, especially from Appiah, they have reported that social history from the patients who are coming in with chronic kidney disease are usually galamsey minors. And so there is the danger of a growing prevalence of kidney disease of unknown cause due to the exposure to some of these heavy metals. And it's something we really have to address. The final one is kidney stones. Kidney stones are a mass that is usually formed in our bladder and other parts of the kidney. Usually, they are made of either oxalates or uric acid. Oxalates are mostly from plant sources, so most of the plant foods we eat are high in oxalates, which is not a bad thing. But the only time it is worrying is if you are not drinking enough water, because in that case, your urine concentration becomes very high and your oxalate levels go up. The danger of forming kidney stones therefore becomes higher. So if you are well hydrated, you don't have to worry about your oxalate intake. But if you probably have a family history of kidney stones or you are not drinking enough water, then you have to worry about your oxalate intake. Oxalate can also be formed from vitamin C. Some people taking excess vitamin C, again, for boosting their immune system. Vitamin C is metabolized into oxalates, and so we need to be careful, take it on prescription. Kidney stones are also formed from uric acid stones, and these are often from protein sources. So excess protein intake also results in urea or uric acid formation. That can increase our risk of kidney stones. So, to the big question we've been trying to answer, to eat or not to eat? Definitely we need to eat, and we will eat. But what shall we eat? So, thankfully, Ghana has recently developed our food-based dietary guideline, which is a tool that is usually developed for specific populations based on sound scientific evidence, and it's also population-specific. It considers the health needs of the people, their culture, their food availability, food access, and all that. In 2023, we launched ours, and it was developed by the Food and Agriculture, Ministry for Food and Agriculture, and then School of Public Health, our own School of Public Health here in the College of Health Science. And that's a great achievement, which we are all celebrating as part of our 25th anniversary. So based on this guideline, we are taught how to eat. So the food-based dietary guidelines puts our foods into 6 main groups. The first is fruits, in no particular order. Now, fruits are a very rich source of vitamins and minerals, and they also provide adequate dietary fiber. We have so many of them, different colors. We are encouraged to eat variety of fruits every day. A minimum of 2 servings of fruits is recommended. When we say a serving, we are talking about a measure of the amount of food or drink, which is standardized internationally. So, for instance, if I say a serving of fruit, I could mean a medium finger of banana, a medium orange, a medium apple. So in a day, we are required to eat at least 2 servings of fruits, and also eat from the different colors of the fruits, because the different colors represent different vitamins. So the more variety you have, the more vitamins and minerals you are getting. The next group is vegetables. We are also encouraged to eat variety, a minimum of 5 servings of vegetables every day. A serving of vegetable, if it is fresh, is like the big kitchen ladle, or the soup ladle. A minimum, that is 1 serving, if it is fresh. If it is cooked, about half of that. So every day, your vegetable intake should be 5 of that. So ask yourself, this morning and this afternoon, the food you have eaten put together, how are you doing? Okay, so the next is the legumes, the nuts, the pulses. These are very healthy, and they are a good alternative for proteins, because they are a good alternative for animal source foods, because they contain adequate protein as well as minerals and vitamins. Examples are our agushi, groundnut, soybean, black eye bean. We are encouraged to eat at least 2.5 servings of that every day. And a serving is like the small tin tomato can. About 1.5 of that is a serving. So if you are eating 2.5 of that a day, it's healthy. The next food group is the animal source foods, where we have fish, egg, milk, and all the other products. Here we are encouraged to eat fish because it is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which is cardioprotective. It protects our heart from various diseases. Again, eat variety. but we are supposed to also be careful with the animal source foods that are high in saturated fat. We need to remove all evidence of fat before we take them. In a day, we are recommended to take 1.5 serving of these animal source foods. A serving is like a chicken thigh, the drumstick, the one we call chicken abo thigh, that one. One is a serving of meat, of chicken. Or if you have 2 medium eggs, that's a serving. So in a day, 1.5 servings in your meal, it's fine. Then there are healthy oils. The healthy oils mainly from plant sources. In a day, we are recommended to take at least 1 dessert spoon. Sometimes people are afraid of oil, so they say, I don't eat oil, and their food is very dry. That is also wrong, because some of our vitamins are fat soluble. In the absence of fat, you cannot absorb those vitamins, and you become malnourished. So eat healthy fats, just a little in your meal. The final group is the tubers, the whole grains, which we have mentioned earlier. Very rich in minerals and vitamins. We are recommended to take at least 4 servings a day. A serving of yam, for instance, is like the sardine tin. If you take Titus sardine, a serving of yam, when you have cooked the yam, that is 1 serving. So in a day, it is recommended that we take a maximum of 4 servings. That's from morning till evening, not 1 meal. So if you are following these recommendations, this is how your plate should look like. In a day, every meal you take, if you look at the portions of the various components, your cereal group, your vegetable, your fruit, your oil, and then we are also encouraged to exercise. So you see people running around the plate. We use the ASANKA, the food-based dietary guidelines use that because it is culturally sensitive. Ghana, we eat in ASANKA most of the time. Translate that into your practical plate. This is how your food should look like when you dish it and you're about to eat. So again, I'll ask your lunch. If you compare it to this, how are you doing? These are all examples of how our plate should look like when we are eating. We talked about water, a minimum of 2 liters a day, 4 sachets of water. And the preferred drink for hydration remains water. Sometimes people eat with juice and various things. These are all rich in some of these oxalic acids we mentioned. So if you are taking them as your hydration, it is not the best. Water is the preferred liquid for hydration. We are also recommended to exercise a minimum of 30 minutes daily, 5 days in a week minimum. If you can do 1 hour a day, even better, especially if you are eating in excess. You need to exercise also in excess to burn what you are storing. We are encouraged to limit our alcohol intake. Alcohol has been described as a toxin by the WHO. And what it does is that it causes the kidneys to lose a lot of fluid. So when you take in alcohol, you also increase your risk of developing acute kidney injury because you tend to urinate a lot, your blood concentration could take in, and that could affect you, whether it is local or foreign drink. If you are not somebody who takes in alcohol, as much as possible, we are encouraged not to take. If you are already somebody taking alcohol, it is recommended that you reduce your intake, if you're a male, to a maximum of 2 drinks. Now, a drink is, if it's a spirit, 1 tot, that's a drink. So maximum 2 if you are a man. If you can do less, even better. If it's wine, about 120 ml, that's a small wine glass. If it's beer, the small beer bottle. If it's a woman, 1 drink. So the food-based dietary guidelines tells us not to eat certain things, and these have all been put in red flag because they contribute saturated fats, trans fats, high sodium, and they increase our risk of developing kidney diseases. There are sugar-sweetened beverages, our artificial spices, pastries, they all fall in this group, and we are advised to reduce our intake of these things. Finally, let's read food labels, because you wouldn't know what is inside the food you are taking. How is the sodium content? What potassium level does it contain? Reading food labels will make you aware how much saturated fat is in the food. If you are not reading labels, you wouldn't know what you are exposing yourself to. These are examples of healthy snacks, which we recommend for workplace, institutions, when you're having meetings, break time. These are options that you can go for instead of pastries. So we have yogurt. Oh, sorry. We have yogurt, boiled groundnuts, roasted plantain and groundnut. Banana and groundnut also falls in this category. Fruits are also good options of snacks. So I would like to make these recommendations. Schools, institutions, workplace, canteens, we should all try to follow the food-based dietary guidelines to improve the health of our members. Again, as much as possible, let's reduce the frequency that we eat out, because eating out has been mentioned as one of the, and it's not just mentioned by the dietitians we spoke to. These are documented in literature. Eating out about 3 times a week, all the way to twice a day, have been associated with various levels of risk of developing chronic non-communicable diseases in general. So let's reduce the number of times we eat out. It starts by planning. What will I eat? You can cook in bulk over the weekend, 2 stews, 1 soup. You portion it into your refrigerator or your freezer. The day you need it, you just pick it, you warm it, cook your rice, cook your yam, and you are good to go. My colleagues will tell you, I'm always coming to the office with my packed lunch. So let's try to reduce the number of times we are eating out to reduce our risk of kidney diseases. We will crave the indulgence of government agencies responsible for ensuring environmental safety. Right now, there's a growing fear of eating certain vegetables due to some information that has come out about the heavy metal levels these vegetables contain. It is a genuine fear. The good thing is, no, I wouldn't say it's good, but the reports are usually coming from places where galamsey is very high. But then you'll never know where you are buying your contomere from, where it was grown and all that. So we really admonish government agencies responsible for ensuring the end of galamsey to please be up and doing, because galamsey is no longer just an environmental problem. It is fast becoming a public health problem. Our institutions, as I said, we should serve healthy snacks in our meetings to improve our health. I would like to acknowledge Prof. Matalasante, Dr. Makumbensa, my head of department, Dr. Fidantifo, all faculty and staff of Department of Dietetics for their various inputs in this presentation. I'm very grateful. All the dietitians who participated in our work, I'm most grateful. Ministry of Agric for the food-based dietary guidelines information, and then our graduate students for giving us the healthy plate samples from their therapeutic catering practical classes. These are references. Thank you.
Oh, can we do it better? Do a louder one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Steele Dazi. How many of you are very sad at what you have heard? What said you, Anenu? Anna, hey. What we go to eat or not to eat? Not to, we eat and we drink water. Why is it that Ghana people we like bonde? Bonde, do you know bonde? The bonde, the putrefied, and yes, I know. Kobe, money. And she spoke about alcohol. The other day, I asked one of my patients, do you drink occasionally or frequently? You know what the guy told me? I was so sad. The guy told me, I drink occasionally, but the occasion is frequent. I was shocked. So these habits are very worrying. And as we are listening, I'm sure we are writing our dietary sins. Very soon we need to go for confession so that God will forgive us our sins. I mean, I can't help to see the zoo on our fufu nowadays. Or Trinam, Akrantianam, Sibonam Kra. May the Lord have mercy upon us and forgive us our sins. Very insightful presentation. Another round of applause, please, for Dr. Sildes. All right, so I'm sure you're writing your questions down. After the second presentation, we'll take them and they will answer them for us. We want to plead that the high table can come here so that they can see the screen very well. I saw them straining to look on the left. This one is a little small. So that after the second presentation, you can come up, if you don't mind. Okay, all right. So we'll take our second presentation, and one of my friends is coming to do that presentation, a very young, promising dietitian, principal dietitian at the University of Ghana Hospital, and his research focus leverages public health nutrition to prevent and manage non-communicable diseases. Interests include medical nutrition therapy for patients with chronic diseases, food systems, food environment, and policies that can mitigate the rising burden of NCDs. With over a decade of clinical experience as a dietitian, Maxwell is part of a multidisciplinary team that manages patients with CKD, chronic kidney disease, and is responsible for providing medical nutrition therapy at the University of Ghana Hospital. As part of promoting healthy food environment in 2018, he led a training initiative for food service providers within the University of Ghana environments, equipping them with requisite skills to prepare and serve nutritious and healthy meals that promote good health. To address Ghana's growing obesity burden, which indirectly contributes to the rising CKD prevalence, Maxwell launched an innovative quarterly weight loss challenge program tailored for Ghanaian adults, especially women. This initiative empowers individuals to achieve sustainable weight loss through healthy practices, aligning with SDG 3 goal of enhancing health and well-being. He also played a leading role in providing the first ever sports nutrition course for fitness and sports professionals in Ghana, which was accredited by Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training for the Institute of Wellness Exercise Science. His contributions to clinical dietetics and public health nutrition initiatives earned him recognition at 2023's Ghana's Best Dietitian at the Made in Ghana Health Awards and Honors. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Maxwell Pisala Conlan.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Registrar, Provost of the College of Health Science, my lecturers, I can see a lot of you. I am who I am today because of the work that you have put in me, so I'm grateful. And I want to singly take this opportunity to thank Professor Amos La for bringing me to do dietetics when I didn't know what the course was about. And then Professor Richmond Naite for the impact, Professor Matilda Asante, Dr. Lauren Boateng, who has always been a mother to me, and then all my lecturers for all the impact that you have had in my life. It's a privilege to be having this conversation today, and I'm glad to be part of the co-presenters for this important seminar. So my assignment is very simple. I'm just going to take just some few minutes to demonstrate how medical nutrition therapy can prevent patients from moving from chronic kidney disease into end-stage renal failure where they will need dialysis. Though the evidence is available, but sometimes we think that it is not possible in our setting. But at Legon University of Ghana Hospital, we have been able to do that. And there are evidences of that I would like to show. Patients who were told that they should start preparing for dialysis, diet changed their story. Diet changed their story. So we're going to take the next 30 minutes, Mr. Chairman, to see how diet was able to do that. And so I have modeled my topic to look at to eat or not to eat, dietary habits, and the cutting of kidney disease, insights from clinical case studies. So we are going to look at clinical case studies, and there are just 2 of them I have summarized, which I would want to present to tell you that diet can turn things around. All right. And so by way of my outline, we'll look at the case summary all the way to the conclusion, what was done and how the outcome was able to improve the lives of those patients. So the first case, it's a case of a 59-year-old female who was in her usual state of health until during COVID-19 when her father tested positive for COVID-19. And so you remember at that time when somebody tests positive for COVID, there is a lot of scare. They were asked to go into isolation. And whilst they were isolating, she started developing severe chest pain and had difficulty breathing. And so, of course, because of her blood pressure, the symptoms of COVID became more pronounced, and she had to be rushed to Guy East Regional Hospital for care. When she got there, they had run out of ventilators, and she was left alone to fight for her life. To the glory of God, she was able to fight this disease, and she recovered it without a ventilator. I remember when I met her, she said she survived by a miracle. And so, unfortunately, after surviving, then there was another problem. And unfortunately, that problem was kidney disease. She had chronic kidney disease, where the kidneys are getting weaker in terms of decline, for those who do not understand what chronic kidney disease means. And so she was at stage 3B. When you move from stage 3B, you go to 4, you go to 5, and you have to start dialysis. So after she was discharged, she was asked to see a dietitian. And one of the doctors I had worked with at Legon, who know what diet could do, actually referred her to me. And I think that referral actually changed her life because of the experiences she had with me at Legon. And that's how this patient came to me at Legon. So 2 things. She had COVID and she had a history of hypertension. So basically, the high blood pressure and the COVID-19 could have accounted for the decline in kidney failure. The eGFR was at 34 millimeters per minute. Now, in terms of the diagnosis, at the time I saw her, she had hypertension in a known COVID-19 treated patient. She had been treated at the time I saw her, and she had ischemic heart disease. Of course, that could also have resulted from the COVID and then the high blood pressure that she was admitted for. She was now diagnosed with diabetes, and she had chronic kidney disease, which is the focus of what we are talking about today. So these were the diagnoses she had when she came to me. Then, in terms of the medications, in fact, she had difficulty remembering the medicine she was taking because it was all about fighting for her life. In fact, at some point, the family thought that she would not be able to make it. So the husband was able to remember some of the medications that she was on. So, but he couldn't remember all. The husband could not be able to remember most of the medicines. But she was kept on Amaral. The doses she could not recall. She was kept on Lipitor 20 milligram. And then she was antihypertensive, okay? She was kept on antihypertensive, lisinopril and nifedipine. Those ones, she could also remember the doses. And then she was kept on ferroglobin because the HB was very low. It was 6 grams per deciliter. And she was not even able to be transfused because of the situation at the time of COVID. But to the glory of God, she still survived. It could only be a miracle, but I think that in as much as the glory of God was able to save her, she had to do what she had to do in terms of lifestyle, and I believe diet was one of the factors. So in terms of the first time I saw her, her weight was 105 kilograms at a height of 157, and so when you estimate the BMI, that is 42.5, which is within the morbidly obese category. When we say somebody is morbid, it means that the person's weight is quite very high for the height. And those are the kind of weight you can visibly see that this person is actually very big. And so that was the situation at the time I saw her. At that time, the HB has improved a bit from 6 to 10. And then the sugar was 8 millimole per liter. Serum creatinine was very high at 230 micromole per liter, and eGFR at 34, which is stage 3B. Stage 3B. And in terms of the urine, they had about 3 pluses while she was at the hospital. And so, I mean, she was diagnosed of chronic kidney disease. Social history, a 59-year-old female, principal of a school in Accra, married with 4 children. They stay in their own house, and she has been a known hypertensive for 10 years. But she was able to control the BP right until COVID came, and that's when the blood pressure escalated. On admission, the BP was 220, 110 millimeters per mercury. So it only took the glory of it. She could have gotten stroke or any other complications. And it doesn't surprise me she was diagnosed with heart disease right after fighting for the COVID. And so in terms of the nutrition physical examination, to find out whether there's a way dietitians assess patients in terms of physical examination. But when I assessed her, we couldn't find any obvious nutrition physical examination. We look out for whether there's micronutrient deficiencies, whether there's hair loss, that could be indicative of whether the person is not eating well or not. The only thing I found was abdominal obesity, what we call belly fat. And of course, if somebody is morbidly obese, you expect that the person will have abdominal obesity. And this is someone who has 4 children. And the childbirth could have also accounted for that. Some of the children were born through cesarean section. And so obviously you would have abdominal obesity in terms of the assessment. Apart from that, there was no other obvious nutrition-related examination. In terms of diet history, prior to the admission, they were just living a normal Ghanaian life, enjoying themselves. And these are people within the middle class. They have everything they want. So they were not eating so much fruit. They could eat fruits like once a week. She was taking a lot of sugar-sweetened beverages. She was taking a lot of Coke and Fanta 5 times a week. And then they had this history of late-night eating. Normal thing. At 9, you go to the fridge, you eat whatever you want because it's available. And she was not involved in any form of physical activity. And she was taking a lot of excessive fat in terms of fried foods. They do fried plantain, kele wele, fried rice. And this was the routine. And she was not drinking a lot of water. So this was the routine of how she was eating in terms of before the COVID strike and when she got admitted. Now, when she went into the admission, something happened. Because she was sick, she was not able to eat. So her intake actually reduced. There was loss of appetite because at that point she was just trying to fight for her life. And then she was unable to eat much. She could only be able to take fluid diet, that is cocoa. And we all know that in Ghana, when someone is sick, we try to give the person cocoa because it's easy to take. And that's what she was able to survive on until she was able to recover. And she could only take 1 liter of water whilst on admission because she was unable to drink a lot of water. And let's see, after discharge, what happens. Now, this patient goes home and she's been told that she has kidney disease. That's where the confusion begins. What do I eat? What do I not eat? So she started going onto the internet to find out what to eat and what not to eat. But you see, the internet is not specific. So it will give you general information. And so what happened was that this patient started restricting herself because she has read that potassium is not good. So she started avoiding all forms of vegetables, started not eating certain food that has potassium, avoiding wheat bread, and all the things that would rather help her. And so when she came, I realized that there was restrictive dieting because she was not eating a lot of things. However, protein intake was high because doctors had told her to eat more to improve the iron. But she didn't know that that protein can actually shut the kidneys down. And so these were some of the things that were happening when she came. And so the fear of eating was there. And at this point, she was able to drink more water because doctors had told her that drinking more water helps. So after water, she started improving her water intake to about 2 liters. So when she came, these were the problems I intended to solve. One, to solve the issue of the restrictive dieting so that I can guide her to eat the right foods. And then the first one, which was on my heart, was to control the protein so that we can save the kidneys. If she had continued eating the same amount of protein she was eating, she probably would have gone into dialysis in the next few months. And so these were the 2 problems that I really needed to be able to solve. So I gave her a nutrition intervention. What was the intervention about? There is something we call medical nutrition therapy intervention. It looks at food as medicine, where you use food to be able to turn things around. But what we do is that we don't do that alone. We do that with the medications. with the medications. So all the evidences I'm presenting, all these patients were on medication. They were not only on diet. But you would see that anytime a patient is only on medication and is not eating well, things can still go bad. So she was put on low protein diet, where her weight was used to estimate the protein to about 63, and that is much less than what we would typically eat. So when Dr. Stildazi presented the pictures, you saw that one of the fufu, there was a lot of meat. We call it United Nations. United Nations. And a lot of Ghanaians see that as signs of good living, you know. So I went onto the media, and one of the, the TV stations, they put that kind of picture, and people were commenting. And I saw one comment of a young man who said that, if I become rich, this is all I'll eat in my life. Now my bread. You know, he's tired, you know. But he doesn't know that eating that amount would actually harm the kidneys. So so her intake was far less than what you saw in those pictures, and it was controlled. She was now asked to drink a lot of water. She began eating fruit every day, and those are the components of the DASH diet. And then we cut down on red meat, sugar, alcohol, fat. Red meat, sugar, alcohol, fat. We cut it down completely. She hardly did that, only on a situation where there is nothing available, she could go for that. And we focus more on the fiber and all the things that will help improve her outcome. So this was the DASH diet. So this is how the picture of the DASH diet looks like. So it models the Ghana food-based dietary guidelines, where you focus more on fruit and vegetables, our legumes, you eat less fat, you eat less sugar, less salt, which Doc spoke about 1 teaspoon, but for people with blood pressure, you even have to do half a teaspoon, you know. And so half a teaspoon would have been difficult for her to do, but there are several ways you can do to achieve that. You don't add salt to your starches, and then you don't add the Maggies. You just add the salt to taste. And when somebody tastes your food, he would need to say, "Asenchini ensha dande nim." If the person doesn't say that, then it becomes normal. So typically, if you are on DASH diet, you cannot be eating outside. You have to eat all your meals at home. And that's exactly what we did. This was a very compliant patient who followed everything. And so I decided to monitor her from 2020 till now. So I monitored the weight trends, I monitored the BP profile, I monitored the creatine, the eGFR, and then I monitored the diet-related changes. So what was the outcome? In terms of her food habits actually changed. So by the first month, she was now eating fruits 7 out of 7. Every day she was eating fruit throughout the week. And that was about 2 to 3 servings. A serving of fruit is just an orange or 1 small banana. So depending on the amount of fruit we are talking about here. She was cooking all her meals now. She was not buying outside. And then she stopped drinking all forms of the sugary drinks and was now taking about 3 liters. Because when she came, she was around 2 liters. I had to help her to increase it to about 2 liters, and then she reduced her salt to half a teaspoon. That there is a way we do that. You don't go around measuring. It's not practical. So dietitians are able to help you to be able to achieve that. And then she avoided all forms of unlicensed herbal medicines. And this was the situation of the diet. So the diet actually improved. But for me, if your diet improves and I don't see outcome in your clinical outcomes, then I am not satisfied. Because sometimes they will come and tell us they are doing the right things, but that's not what actually in principle people are doing. So I wanted to use the outcome in terms of blood pressure and the kidney function as a measure to see whether the food that she has changed in terms of eating well is having an impact on her health. And it actually did. So on admission, the blood pressure was 220, 120 millimeters per mercury. And then at the time she came, it was 142. So after the diet therapy together with the medication, everything we did was with the medication, because it was unethical to say that don't take medicine and let's see what diet you do. So it was a combination therapy. So by the second month, it came to 139.82. And as at the last time I saw her, 2025, the BP was around 135.78. Significant improvement in terms of blood pressure. Significant improvement, looking at where she came from and where she is now. Now, let's see what happens to the weight trends. At the time she came, the weight was 105. That was in 2020, okay? So by 2022, she had lost to 70 kilograms. But that was within a period of 2 years. It is not just a month or 2 months, and that would have been too drastic. But at every month, she was losing an average of 4 kilos. Then when we hit 70 kilos, we had a negative societal reaction where people were now asking her questions. Are you sick? You know, she goes to church and everyone is looking at her. And I've had this feedback from a lot of patients. Some people come and tell us that almost is kind of shit or this cabium. You know, that's why the person is losing weight. And some, they will say they have marital issues. They do not want to tell the truth. And so we didn't have to ignore that. We needed to address that problem. So I adjusted the plan to ensure that the weight started picking up. So the weight picked up to 92. Then at 92, I realized that the kidney function started declining again. So there was a correlation between the BMI and the weight and that of a kidney function. And this is proven in literature. So let's see what happened to the eGFR. The eGFR talks about the state of the strength of the kidneys in the ability to be able to remove or filter the waste. When she came, you need to have a strong eGFR of 90 or above to say that your kidneys are fine. When she came at 34. And then when we started doing the diets, the eGFR started declining. Okay, it started declining. It started improving in terms of the strength. It started improving from, it started from 34 up to 68. So the last eGFR we did is around 68. So what happened was we have actually moved this patient from CKD stage 3B to what? To, a mildly declined kidney function at 68, which is stage 2. Because if they our last visit, the criteria, the normal rate, 1 to 75, and this was accounted because of the low protein and the lifestyle changes that she made. Because doctors are told her that we don't give you any medication. The only thing you need to do is to do that. At some point, the nephrologist just said, continue with the diet. I think your dietitian is doing a good job, and that was all we had to continue. So, yes, so these were the two that were the problem. So creatinine correctors, eGFR has moved from 34 to 68. She's now out of danger. If you look at her age, around 55, 68, you essentially say is normal. Even though it is not 90, you don't expect it to come back to 90 because the decline was, it's already significant and it will not change. So this patient has been declared of any risk of dialysis. And if she continues with the lifestyle, there's no way she would ever go onto dialysis. Now, what are some of the challenges of this management? Balancing her CKD with anemia was the problem because you want to give high iron diets, but you know high iron diet, which is bioavailable animal source, also is high in protein. So do you give high protein in terms of to improve the iron and shut the kidneys down? Or do you also leave that so that the blood will come down? So it's like you're in the middle of a river where there's a lion on one side and a crocodile on the other. Wherever you go, there's trouble. So you have to be in the middle. I really struggle trying to balance this. What I did was to give her the plant-based vegetables that has high levels of iron, contomere, diadema, and all our green leafy vegetables. But still, that was not helpful. Lessons to be learned. And has to be careful sources of because you want iron. Otherwise, you shut the kidneys off. And so you have to be careful when it comes to such management. Sustaining the weight was difficult. You see that the weight was undulating. It went to 70, 92, sometimes 68. And then the last weight she had was around 88.6. The weight has never been stable. What it tells us is that losing weight is not enough. You have to fight hard to be able to sustain the weight. And that has also been another challenge. The negative societal reaction to weight loss is also a problem, because people think that when you are big, it's signs of good living. And so we need to speak about this. Gaining weight is not signs of good living, it's signs of sickness. So please, when someone is losing weight, don't discourage the person. Don't say that's kinda shit. Please don't do that. It is not helpful. Because at the end of the day, if she had listened to them, it would have rather harmed the kidneys more. Then current management plan, she's still continuing the strict diet therapy, and I'm still monitoring her. She's continuing with her physician and the nephrology review, and she's drinking more water, and we want to ensure that the blood pressure is well controlled, and we are achieving all that. So in conclusion, what we are saying that early intervention of diet can delay and prevent kidney progression. And this is not just only for this case. There are other cases that I have seen which because of time, I can't go through all this. I'll just use 5 minutes to summarize that data of a 17-year-old child at the University of Ghana who is a student who also has this CKD, and we're also seeing a lot of promising results with medical nutrition intervention. So we think that government must rather, as a matter of agency, focus on blood pressure prevention, high blood pressure prevention, because that is where majority of the cases are coming from. If we can stop the root cause, then we can cut down the number of CKD cases in Ghana. Well, some are arguing it's as a result of galamsey. We don't have the evidence emphatically yet. Yes, galamsey may have contributed, but lifestyle may tend to have more in terms of the risks of CKD compared to just galamsey. So we need to change our habit. Let's not look for just the easier causes, but we need to also try and change our lifestyle as well. So the second one, I'm going to use 5 minutes to summarize that because of time. So this is a 17-year-old student who probably had a skin rash, went to the hospital. She never goes to the hospital. In the process of the blood pressure, the BP shot up to 220/100. And they said, please sit down. We do not understand what is happening for that age. So a second check, the BP dropped from 220/100 to 210/142. And so they realized that this was a serious blood pressure issue. They arranged for an ambulance at the student clinic and rushed her to the university hospital. So when she came, they did a lot of tests. The eGFR showed 27. She was at stage 4, just waiting to move to stage 5, where she would have to start dialysis. And so when she came, after they have done their medical treatment, one of the doctors referred her to me. When she came, she had hypertensive agency, where the blood pressures are so high, and it takes a lot of effort to control that. And then she had CKD because the eGFR was 27. Her weight is 50, normal BMI. She doesn't have any comorbidity in terms of obesity. She has a normal weight. So you'll be wondering why this 17-year-old child had high blood pressure. So I decided to dig further to find out what the problem is. And then when we interacted, we realized that she was a Muslim girl who the father is forcing into child marriage. The father wanted her to come out of school to marry. So she should stop the school because the father is an Arabic teacher and do not believe in education. And this child also wanted to go to school. So psychosocial stress from that. And the father said, if you don't come, then I will not pay your fees. So she was struggling to pay her fees, and that psychosocial stress of thinking about how she will navigate this challenge is what led to the blood pressure. And so it was easy to identify what caused it. But she told us that she was having intermittent headaches for 2 years. She was taking para. She didn't know that the paracetamol she was taking could actually harm the kidneys. But that was blood pressure anyway. She didn't know because she will not go to the hospital because she's not in pain. And these are the things, these are lessons we need to learn, that when someone has pain or headache, we need to be able to check the BP. So by the time she came to me, the eGFR has moved from 27 to 17. So she was just moving from 10, she would have to do dialysis, and that was what happened. So when I check her diet history, same trend, a lot of sugar, calipo, and we are seeing a lot of Indomie among our students, Indomie consumption, Indomie sausage. Any student that comes, Indomie sausage. And it's something that we need to do a lot of education on, because they look for convenience foods which are not healthy. So her habit was bad, and then after I had probably spoken to her, I saw that there was an improvement in terms of her diet intake. So her main problem was excessive salt, because she was eating outside. She's a student and she eats outside. So let's just look at the trends. So medical nutrition therapy intervention, it was the same DASH diet, more fruit and vegetables, taking a lot of fruits, taking a lot of water, and avoiding sugar, fat, alcohol, and salt, just like the first person that I spoke about. This was the BP 220/100. When we started the diet intervention, she started making some progress, and as I talk now, she's at 115/79, so the BP is now well controlled. But this was together with medication and then what? Diet. Now let's quickly look at the trends. The creatinine started from 226. Just yesterday, she came to see me, and I was surprised. Something has happened that I really could not believe the results. So she has moved from 226 to 131 in terms of creatinine. And then the EGFR, which was 27, came to 17. The 17 that she started seeing me with, she has moved from, her last progress was 25. Just yesterday, she had 52. And I was shocked. So when I saw it, I said, no, this result is just too good to believe. So please go and repeat the results at a different lab, because this was done at the university hospital. When she went and she came, it was 52.5. So what it means is that the results was comparable, and it is a true state of what is happening to this patient in terms of the outcome of her kidney health. And this is just somebody who was just at the edge of becoming a dialysis patient, but through diet intervention, multidisciplinary team, through the medication she took, at some point we need to bring our pharmacists on board to do medication adherence, and it saw an improvement in terms of her outcome. So these are the trends, and when I tried to find out whether they were significant, they were quite significant. Of course, you can see in terms of the data where she came from and where she is now. So to bring the presentation to the end, the current management is that she's seeing a psychologist to solve the psychosocial stress from the father. But we brought the father on board, and the good news is that the father said, I have given up, continue with school. And yesterday I spoke to the father, and I broke the good news about how the kidneys has improved, and the father said, I am God sent. And I said, oh, it is not me, I am just a vessel. So let's give glory to God. And so that is the situation of the students now. And then she's going to see a nephrologist. Finance was a problem. We've got a good Samaritan who is willing to support with the nephrology review. So we'll continue with that. And then we are going to get a student financial aid. We are going to write a medical report to give her a scholarship. I believe that if she gets a scholarship, it will help solve the psychosocial stress, and we will be able to arrest the BP and give the key to IGP. And so I'm praying that we are able to let that work. So lessons learned. There is a need for screening for adolescents thoroughly. We don't assume they are children, so they will not have high blood pressure. And parents must ensure supportive environment for their students. People who have financial distress should be linked to help. Because what we are doing, holistic care, that is why we are doing the scholarship, the psychologist review, and the others. And there's a need for agent screening for blood pressure for younger people, because they are always forgotten. And so in conclusion, early diagnosis and early intervention of high blood pressure can help reduce the risk of chronic kidney disease. And I also believe that early diet intervention works, and multidisciplinary team, like the case of this student at Legon, would also work. Food is medicine, and so our doctors, our physicians, the call is that kindly refer the cases to us early. One was brought to me, but it was late. She came with 10. She had already started dialysis. We did everything, it did not work. Food is medicine, so let's always promote healthy eating together with medication. It is not enough to just put a patient on medicine, but whilst they're on medicine, let's cover the other holistic care in terms of diet. Diet really works, and so let's eat healthy and live longer. Thank you so much.
I was diagnosed of high blood pressure about 10 years ago, I guess. And with a kidney disease, that was about 4 years ago. And it was due to COVID infection. In fact, when I had COVID, I was diagnosed of so many issues. So all hope was lost. Doctors asked me to go on dialysis, but fortunately, a doctor referred me to a dietitian and encouraged me to call him, which I did. So I called him, and we met. He was so patient with us. I went with my husband. He was very, very patient with us. His first sitting with us encouraged us that all hope wasn't lost. So he came up with a plan. Fortunately, he didn't come up with his own plan, but he involved us in the planning of the menu. And he asked what we enjoy most, and he put it into a menu plan for 7 days, which we religiously followed. And fortunately, on our plate, we had fruits, we had vegetables, we had, name it, everything that one can enjoy. We had it on our plate. He didn't leave anything out. I was even surprised when he added brown sugar. We had bread and everything, milk, everything. So what we did on our part was to follow this diabetes to God. The BP went down. The kidney function also started picking up. And it encouraged us because with the first meeting, that was when we saw the doctors after the first month, the GFR had gone up by 2. It was 32 as at that time, and it had gone up to 34. And we realized hope was not lost. So we kept on and on. Thank God, we were able to do away with most of the drugs given us, and some of the health benefits I had from dieting was massive, because with the COVID I had cholesterol, which was very bad. I had heart problems. I had HB, which was very, very low. It was as low as 7. And everything that I lost at that time, gradually it was picked up. And most of the drugs were taken off. And to my knowledge, I lost weight. It came down significant.
All right. We want to plead that we interject the video. It's about 7 minutes, and we believe it's an emphasis on what he has already told us about, so that we can make time for questions and round up and leave. It's getting to 6 o'clock. Thank you very much. I think he deserves a... Oh, can you make it louder for him? Thank you very much, Maxwell. Proving to us that diet really works. And I can't be prouder as a dietitian. See, and on a daily basis, we see the efficacy of our interventions on patients. We'll invite Dr. Dennis, Francis Dennis, my roommate and classmate, to come and help us through 10 minutes or so of question time. I hear we have over 200 people on Zoom and YouTube following this interactions. So I want to ask that if you have questions, please put them in the chat boxes and on the comment section. Dr. Francis Dennis will do justice. Please put your hands together for him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's cut straight to the chase. If there are any questions in here, can I see by show of hand? So, Mr. Chair, if with your permission, we'll take a series of questions and then we'll take the answers. I think I saw one hand here. Oh, here. Okay.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all the presenters. My name is Dr. Gladys Jansi of School of Nursing and Midwifery, and I'm excited about the presentation, particularly because I currently have a PhD student who has also modified the DASH diet for CKD. And I think we have to see you we have seen some results that are not clear. We'll talk to you and see. Particularly with the characteristics with their BP levels compared with the other clinical factors. So we'll see you. The main question I want to ask is, from all the two presentations, there are concerns about eating out. The generation we have now will not stop eating out. So what is the plan for dealing with the source of our food, since the eating out will continue? What are the policy and other interventions that can be put in place to ensure that what we are served is safe? Especially also because even when we are invited for programs, the University of Ghana, the registrar is here. The food we are served, registrar, please take note. The other notice, there was a notice that we should not eat at certain types of meeting. Part of it encourage that we eat fruits, good. But the one that allows us to eat lunch, the quality of the lunch, and where we have been referred to buy the lunch, I recommend that you pay particular attention to how they package the eating out food for us. We'll be grateful. I'm also concerned about behavioral interventions and how you are partnering with other people to, particularly the psychology, because individual decision making. Doc, we've worked on a patient before, and you know that we had to give up because the adherence was quite poor. So the outcome was bad. How do we deal with the self-discipline? Because the other type of the diet is seafood diet. When you see the food, you are eating it. So as long as you see food and you eat, you cannot control what you eat. And how do we manage that as well? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you and good evening. My name is Mahmoud Browe from School of Pharmacy. Mine comes in two forms. One is a contribution, and the other one is a question. So I'll start with the question one. We were talking about the use of sodium NaCl, the normal table salt in cooking, is a problem. Are there any other salt that you could probably suggest to us that you could also use as alternatives? Then the second one, which is very dear to my heart, is just to contribute to what you said about eating out. Nowadays, a lot of people have been using paracetamol to cook. You mentioned rightly that para is one of the known causes of CKD or kidney disease. Actually, it's work that I've been doing over the years. And I'm not so proud to say here that on Legon campus, food that are sampled and analyze them actually contain para and this breakdown product, which is actually nephrotoxic. So it's not a surprise to me when you mention that, there are some unknown causes of kidney disease. And that could be from the food that we've been eating. Because when you cook with the para, it breaks down. And that breakdown product, which is para-aminophenol, is actually nephrotoxic. So I would urge all of us to be careful where we eat. I won't mention where I got the food samples from, but they are actually all from Legon campus and Care University. And luckily, I'll be doing this presentation during the Noguchi conference. And I titled it very similar to this one, Eating to Live or Eating to Die. So I'll entreat you all to come. There are more insights for you. Thank you. Yeah, that's my research.
Thank you. Let's take the last question for now.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Please, my name is Doris. I'm a health educator at Small Polyclinic. I'm a nurse. Please, when we educate our patients of eating more of fruits and vegetables, they tend to ask those fruits and vegetables, the chemicals they use in growing them, they are very toxic. And it's true these days, when you buy something like carrots and then you keep it in the fridge for just 3 days, you see it melting. And it tells you that it was grown in a very wrong way. So that's what they tell you, that even the fruits and vegetables that you're asking us to eat more, they are even more toxic than our carbs that we eat in the house. So please, how sure are we that the food that we eat in are very organic, that it is going to give us that, it's going to give us the healthy living that we want to obtain. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll answer the first 3 questions, and we'll take the final batch.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with the question on eating out. And it's true, with the growing middle class, eating out is become a status quo, and it's become almost like the norm. And so it's possible, it's something that it may be difficult to stop. So in our own way, as a Department of Dietetics, we have taken up the challenge to train people who are involved in commercial food preparation, from caterers to chefs. We have a dietetic culinary practice program currently running in our department that the people who qualify are chefs, caterers, people in food service in general. They come and we teach them what healthy food preparation involves. We just graduated our first batch. So it's a gradual process, and we are hoping to continue. And we also continue with these advocacies, hoping that more and more people are going to be aware. And we are going to have, there are different recipes they came up with. They prepared fried rice with wheat, and you wouldn't even see the difference because it tasted really good. That was one of the practical sessions they had in our culinary dietetic practice program. So it's a gradual process, and we are hoping to get there. But in the meantime, having this information, anytime you go and you eat out, look through the menu. Now you know some of the things that are risky and others that are not. Opt for the healthier options on the menu, and also join the campaign to promote healthy eating. The more we choose these healthy options, the likelihood of them keeping those on the menu and taking out the unhealthy ones is going to go on. So it's an effort we must all put in to make sure that we change our society. The question on healthy salts apart from sodium, it's not very common to find other forms of salt. Sometimes there's the option of potassium salts, but they are not very common. And as I said, sodium chloride has its benefits, the taste and the preservative properties, and so it's something that we can hardly do away with. The good thing is that when we eat high potassium in our diets, as I said, they are rivals. The potassium will help to control the sodium levels. So the way around it is to eat a lot of potassium. Your kidneys will naturally excrete the sodium once your potassium intake is high. And so I wouldn't say there are alternatives to sodium chloride per se, even though there are some potassium salts which are not too common. So the easy way around it, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, have high potassium intake, and that will help your body to control the sodium levels. The question on the fear of chemicals in our vegetables, it's a growing fear. You hear patients telling you all the time, you recommend fruits, vegetables, and they tell you, some don't even eat fish. They will tell you, I can't eat fish because I'm afraid of mercury. It's easier for me to suffer my hypertension than eat mercury that I don't know where it's going to take me to. But the fact still remains that fruit and vegetables are healthier food options on our menu. So we can't do without them. What we can do is buy from trusted sources. I know sometimes when you go to the market, you can't really tell where this is coming from or where that is coming from. So what you can do when you get home, wash them with clean water, running water. Sometimes you can use a little bit of salt water to wash clean it very well. Most of these agrochemicals, with good cleaning, they can be gotten rid of. Or you can use lemon in water to wash these fruits and vegetables to make them safer. But the main thing starts from where you are buying it from. Buy from trusted sources. If you can grow your own fruits and vegetables, that's even better. Have your own backyard garden. That one, you are very convinced of how safe it is. But don't stop eating fruits and vegetables, because the alternative is no better. We still have to eat these fruits. Let's be sure of where we are getting it from. And let's also prepare them well when we purchase them, clean them adequately, and some of the risk could be eliminated that way. Thank you. So my colleague will continue with the other questions.
Okay, so there's one last question that was not addressed. How do you control what you eat? In fact, that's a very difficult thing to do. I've seen patients struggle. There are some people who cannot control what they eat. As soon as they see, their hand must go there. So with that, it has to do with you practicing what we call mindful eating. Mindful eating. Mindful eating is about being conscious of what you are eating and trying to control things that are not healthy. There are times that if you are watching TV and you are eating, you may not even think that you are eating much because your focus is disrupted, so you may end up eating a lot. There are people who put the banana under the decks and they are bringing one after the other and they are distracted. Sometimes by the time they put their hand and do this, the banana is finished. You have eaten 20 fingers. So when you are eating, please be focused and practice mindful eating. And just ensure that you are able to control yourself. It's something that you have to practice over a period of time and that you master it. It doesn't come easily. But once you keep doing it and thinking about your health, with time, you'll be able to control what you eat. There's something I realized in my weight loss club that I put people to lose weight. At some point, when they are done with the program, they can't eat much because their bodies have gotten used to it. And one told me that now, even when she eats a little more than what she's eating now, she gets a tummy ache. It's simply because she has been able to learn. So sometimes you learn into your way and making sure you are careful with what goes in. And that's how you are able to be able to control what you eat. Yeah, so I think that's all the questions that we have that was asked. The psychologist care, yes. So from this case study, the lessons learned are that when you have a multidisciplinary team managing people with high blood pressure, they tend to have better outcomes than when people are just hooked on only medicines. And from clinic, what we realize is that most people would not take the medicine, but they'll go in for unlicensed herbal medication. And that is what is causing most of the CKD cases. And that is evidenced by our data in Legon. So we think that if you have a problem, please come back to report. Yes, but if you are managing high blood pressure, you need a psychologist to be on board, especially if those sources of high blood pressure is as a result of psychosocial stress in the case of the students that I presented. So if you think there is a need, you need to refer. And I think that once you give that holistic care, you'll be able to improve outcomes. Yeah. So I think we are done with all the questions that were asked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are 3 questions on Zoom, so I'll just read those out and then we can please attend to them. So the first 2 are from Sarah Ikuya Osafo. The first one says, with regards to warming of food, does microwave cooking and reheating have any negative effects on the food and our health? The second question says, with regards to protein intake, would eating eggs alone suffice? And is there a maximum number of eggs to eat in a day? And the last question is from Kobi Dankwa. His question is it generally true to drink 2 liters of water daily, taking into consideration the body size of a person? Yes, so it says, is it generally true to drink 2 liters of water daily, taking into consideration the body size of a person? So I think it had to do with the point about drinking 2 liters of water a day. So if we can take these questions, I think we can safely wrap up the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with microwave cooking and health. Yes, a lot of questions have been asked about microwave. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Unfortunately, I can't answer that question. What I can tell is that there is no documentation of long-term studies or longitudinal studies that have been done on people who have used microwave that has ended in negative outcomes. So I'm unable to tell. However, most microwaves come with manufacturer instructions. The recommendation is that if your microwave is old, stop using it. If your microwave, because when it gets problematic, then you are likely to have some of these problems. But if the microwave is in good working order, I don't have the evidence to suggest that it is harmful to use. Second question on eating eggs alone, and whether it will suffice. As much as egg is probably the one of the highest quality of proteins that we have, we are advised to eat variety. Remember from the lecture we had, we need to eat from variety of sources. Animal source products are many. We have chicken, we have turkey, we have fish, we have egg. Unless you are a vegetarian who only takes in egg. But otherwise, why do you want to limit yourself to egg when you have so many other options? So let's eat variety. So we have a more comprehensive nutrition. Then, taking 2 liters of water daily. Remember that the recommendation is the minimum. So depending on your height, your weight, your physical activity level, that can change. Even the temperature in your region. Here in the tropics, sometimes the sun is so hot, you could take 6 sachets of water in a day, you won't even feel it's enough. So there's no limit to how much you can take. The only time you may have to worry about how much water you are taking is if you have an underlying kidney problem and you have been put on a restricted water intake. In that case, your kidneys may not be able to eliminate the excess water. But if you are an apparently healthy person, you don't have any problem with your kidneys, the kidney is capable of excreting any excess that you may take. So feel free and take it. Anytime you are thirsty, drink the water. The minimum is what we recommend is 2 liters. Thank you.
Let me just add just some few minutes about the microwaving. Some of the safety concerns has to do with people heating banku in rubber in the microwave at very high temperatures. So what will happen is that you get some of the chemicals leaking from the rubber wrapped around the banku into the banku. And it's the same thing for people who boil the banku. So we want to advise that if you want to remove the banku from the rubber, put it in a microwave bowl and heat it, instead of heating it with the rubber around it, because you can contaminate yourself with some of the chemicals leaking in. So that would help in terms of the risks. And then don't microwave at high temperatures. Otherwise, when you do that, you lose some of the nutrients. So when we are microwaving, we should make sure we do not overdo. The issue of eggs, if you are healthy, the evidence says you can have 1 boiled egg a day. If you are a healthy person, 1 boiled egg. For those with chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, the last systematic review that I saw actually estimated that you can have an average of 3 eggs in a week. That's if you have a chronic disease. And the good news is that the issue of the yolk has been addressed. You don't need to remove the yolk anymore. What is egg without yolk? Yeah. But however, please, if you exceed your limit, as in the 3 times, then you need to remove the yolk. If you exceed your limit. But for the healthy people, you can have 1 egg throughout the week. And so that's what the current recommendation is. And we advise that you don't fry. You boil the egg. Don't fry. Once you fry, you are risking oil being added, and that can increase your risk of cholesterol. All right. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, I think a better round of applause will do. I would have loved to take more questions, but we are pressed for time. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. My sincere apologies. My sincerest apologies. I want us to close on time so that we don't overstay our welcome and the courtesies that you have granted us by staying seated. All right? So I'd like a louder one again for them, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But, of course, after this session, you can see them and then do a one-on-one consultation at no charge over here. But when we leave here, you have to pay for consultation. Patron Namti, why is it that we like fish head like that? That we've been sucking the fish head. Hey, Charlie. The gills, the water passes there. So the metals are there, pal. And I see couples fighting over fish head, tilapia head. With their mommy face here. Please, we're leaving the next 10 minutes. I want to invite the acting chairman of the college's scientific committee and the public lecture committee to give us a few words before we leave. Reverend Dr. Thomas Akwete Ndanu.
Shall we put our hands together for ourselves for the time spent so far here? Those of you who came in late, join us later, let me put it that way. I announced that our headmaster, Professor Andrew Anthony Ajay, the A Cube, is bereaved. He's lost his brother, one of his brothers, and you'll be burying him tomorrow. And people were asking, how come that the headmaster himself hadn't reached here? I'm here on his behalf. Yes, I'm sure it will be announced. Today is the first part of our public lecture. We will continue tomorrow. Please, my understanding is that we've had over 100 people on one of the media that is going on as a Facebook also. That is very encouraging as far as I know. This program is actually organized for the public. We all agree with me the information that has been passed on to us has been very rich, isn't it? Put your hands together once again for the program. It's very exciting. I think it will be appropriate before the chairman takes over, with permission from the chair. If you permit me, may I please ask the membership of the scientific committee, the minor scientific committee, and the public lecture. If you are here, please may I request that we be on our feet so that we will see you for the hard work you have put into this. And put our hands out for them. It's very exciting. It hasn't been easy, but you are putting your maximum. We are looking forward to have more people to join us here tomorrow and online. I'm sure because we provided an online thing, that's why some have not been here, but I'm confident by tomorrow we have more. Please, it's good you were here, isn't it? Be blessed. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Right, so we'll take our closing remarks from our chairman, and so that we can get out of here. Please welcome Professor Felix Ankoma Asante.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. I mean, with all the presentation, the questions, and the discussions, people have attempted to summarize the presentation. People have attempted to give the direction in which we are supposed to move. But I would like to touch on one or few things. I think from the two presentations that we've had, what comes out is we need a multidisciplinary team to help address kidney diseases. During the questions, I read questions and I realized that people were asking questions. I don't know whether they were asking for themselves. And people were saying, this generation. We are also part of the generation. So I was wondering whether they were referring to some youth somewhere and they are out. Well, that is something that we will have to address. But you see, we all buy or we all eat outside. Today we are blaming. We all buy semi-processed or semi-processed food and send home. You buy your kenke, you buy some other things. So that issue of not eating out, I don't think any of us, we avoid eating out. We all eat out. because we buy it not fully, but we buy it in the semi-processed form. Now the thing is, you buy your kenke, it's boiled in paracetamol. You said you prepared your stew at home and you are eating at home. So I think we need to start thinking aloud and dissect the issue very well. I think all the issues that we've talked about, issues of culture, issue of the economy, my background is economics. So when you said we should stop eating out, that person who sells food, how is he or she going to look after the family? We shouldn't do certain things. And if we want the economy to function, everybody has to do his or her part to make sure that the economy. And I think one thing that is missing in all the things we are discussing is standards. If we had standards, it's easy to eat outside. If we have standards, it's easy to eat your contomere. If you have standards, I think all the issues that we are discussing would be addressed. And the question is, how do we come by the standards? We have institutions that are supposed to set it up, but it is not working. Personally, I believe if we're able to get the standards working, I mean, we go to, so you cook at home, you go and buy maize with aflatoxin, and then you come back and say, I'm eating from home. But the whole maize is aflatoxin. You go and buy granite, molded, and you say you are eating from home. So it's a big complex issue. But it's good you've drawn our attention to this. While sitting there, I was asking myself, what should I eat? But even if I want to cut down my food, I have to drink more water. And the water to have to drink, I'm afraid of it. Even if I want to fast, I have to take in more water. So what? I mean, I was confused while sitting. And some of us are a little old, they say, cut down your food, do this. And the other thing, I have a friend who said, they said he should eat more fruits. So he started eating pineapple. And he was eating the export type, the very sweet one. And then later he went to the hospital and said his sugar level is high. Okay, so we need a lot of education on even the fruits that we have to eat. Okay, and I think tomorrow's lecture will touch on some of these things. Tomorrow we'll look at the cost implication, and then we'll also look at the management and prevention. Moderation is key. For now, I've told myself that when I see a food prepared, I'll eat it as it is. I won't add sugar, even if it's tasteless. So we need to set standards for ourselves. So when I see somebody adding sugar to salt to already prepared food, I ask myself why. At times I eat it and I feel like throwing up, but I hold myself because I tell myself that salt is no good. So whatever is used, I eat it like that. But you see, people also use all sorts of glutamate and all sorts of things. It makes the food so sweet. If you are not careful, you keep on eating it. Recently, I was told that if you are buying fish and you don't see flies around, be careful. I mean, why should I also now fish is good. Now fish is good. Now, but when I'm going to buy it, so I told my wife that I can't see flies, so the fish is. But when you see too much flies also, you say the flies is so I mean the whole world is complex. But I'm hoping that tomorrow some of these issues, the cost implications, the management and the prevention will come. So please, don't miss tomorrow's presentation, and I think that will give us a direction on this, what to eat and what not to eat. So on this note, thank you very much for coming, and I hope that I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for helping us do this. We want to invite Ms. Cynthia Yasantua Boating to do the vote of thanks for us. After which, Reverend Professor Nicholas Israel Ni Shrebi will give us the closing prayer. Thank you very much. My name is Nana Kofi Usu. They call me Dietitian 1. I'm with United Television on Saturdays, 3 p.m., talking about health. And I have a diet and culinary segment on Friday mornings at 8 a.m. I also teach at yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you. Good evening, distinguished guests. On behalf of College of Health Sciences, University of Ghana, We are very grateful that you are able to join us on the opening day of this very important public lecture. Thank you all. We are very grateful and very much honored by the presence of our chairperson, Professor Felix Asante. He happens to be the Vice-Chancellor in charge of Research, Innovation and Development at University of Ghana. VC, we are very grateful. Madam Registrar, thank you for coming. Thank you for the acting provost, Professor Samuel Nchuba, for his support. To the deans, directors, staff, faculty, students of CHS, we are very grateful for your presence and participation. Members online, we have never left you out. Thank you for joining. For the organizers of this great show, the CHS 25 Anniversary Planning Committee and the CHS Biennial Scientific Conference and Public Lecture Committee, let's put our hands together for them. For all the hard work and dedication, they've done really well. So may today's discussions inspire us all to make informed health decisions for a stronger and healthier society. Thank you all for your presence. Thank you.
Please, let's pray. Almighty and everlasting God, we thank you so much for a beautiful day like this. We thank you for life. We thank you for a call to service. We thank you for giving us this wonderful lecture, very illuminating, life-transforming, insightful. We give you all the praise. You always come down to look for us, to protect us, to save us. And when this chronic kidney disease was ravaging and affecting lives in this nation, you have given us this wonderful lecture. We pray that it goes a long way to transform lives, protect our health and wellness. In the name of Jesus Christ, we are praying. We thank you for the resources you availed to us, the people you prepared and equipped to share this wonderful knowledge with us. Bless them. Refill them and use them the more to be a blessing to humanity. We thank you for the facilitators, all who put this together, people who have sat in a chair to see to it that this goes successfully, and the wonderful audience here and outside. We pray that, oh God, you make us benefit. We look back, we see that we have gained enough to help us choose wisely and live responsibly. We pray, even as we go back, Lord, watch over our steps. Take each and every one of us to our places of residence or work. And may it be unto you that, oh God, you grace us, that tomorrow we come refreshed to continue business, that the 25th anniversary lecture, public lecture, will be a great success. To you we say, go, you are the glory and adoration for the blessings you lavish upon us. Thank you, Lord, for hearing us, and having heard, we know you have granted. In the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you very much, Prof. Please, while we exit, there's a snack. Oh, it's snack. Anna Sapamum. Okay, snack. I can see some bottles over there. This is occasional occasion. It's not frequent occasion. Okay. So please pass this way and go. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience. Thank you very much.